Hi everyone, this is Isaiah Real with Laguna Wealth Advisors. Happy spring, it's baseball season, go Angels. Today's the next episode of the Real Sense Retirement Show. I have 3 great questions to share with you, especially with the beginning of the second quarter of 2019. I can't believe we're here. We're going to talk about asset class rankings, estate planning, and debt planning. So today we're going to go over 3 questions. Question number 1, what are the rankings for the best asset classes to start the second quarter of 2019? So before I go into it, this is a good thing to do on a regular basis for yourself at the beginning of each quarter. So every 3 months. Let me compare it to maintaining your car. You always want your car to perform the best, don't you? So what do? You get the oils changed, you get the fluids flushed, you rotate your tires or get new tires when you need to. You maintain the car to make sure it runs at peak performance. This is the same thing. We need to make sure our portfolio runs at peak performance, and this is one of the areas, taking a look at the asset classes and seeing what's doing well and what's not, that you should be doing on a regular basis to make sure that your portfolio is running at peak performance. So let me go ahead and get started. Let's start from the top down. So what's happening around the world? What's the best assets around the world? Number 1 is still domestic equities here in America. Hasn't been beaten yet. Number 2, international equities. Even with a lot of trouble happening out there, they're still the second best performing asset class around the world. Number 3 is commodities. That could be gold, that could be silver, that could be agriculture, which is soybeans or what have you. That's number 3. Number 4 is fixed income. Those are bonds. And number 5 is cash. So that could be CDs, that could be money markets. That's number 5. Now let me get a little bit more specific. So there's a couple things I want to share with you. Let's start with the international sector. So right now, the top 2 performing sectors, I should say, is the Asia Pacific area. Asia Pacific emerging markets is number 1 right now when it comes to international, when it comes to buy signals, when it comes to looking to outpace the S&P 500. And number 2 is Asia Pacific developed. That's interesting. We hear a lot of things around trade talks and everything in between, but they're doing pretty well. The trade talks have subsided a little bit. They're coming out of the recession. That's number 1 and number 2. But here's the interesting thing that I want to share with you actually is, what is the last place investment when it comes to international right now? It's Europe developed. That's England. That's Germany. That's France. That's Italy. These are places we think are tried and true that continue to get growth, but right now they're struggling. Brexit again, they're going to delay the vote until Halloween time. Germany's having issues. France is having issues. There's a lot of things up in the air over there still, and that shows. The emerging Europe's countries are struggling, and that's last place right now when it comes to our ranking. So if you have some of that in your portfolio, maybe it's the time just to think about if that's the right place to be for yourself. So now let me get more specific with domestic equities. So domestic equities, let me break it up into 2 areas. Asset classes, which is typically things we see in 401k plans, and sectors. So let me start with asset classes. In your 401k plans, IRA plans, you may see the words or phrases of large cap, mid cap, small cap, growth, value. That's what I'm talking about here. So the top 3 sectors or area classes, I should say, the top 3 area classes right now is large cap growth, small cap growth, mid cap growth. So what does that tell you? There's a trend there. All 3 of those asset classes, and the growth emphasis is the top 3. So if something like that is available for you in your 401k plan, hey, maybe it's an area that you maybe take a look at. Here's another interesting thing. The last 3 sectors in that spot are all value. Large cap value, small cap value, and mid cap value. So I know in our 401k plans, I know we see growth, I know we see value. For some people, they may think value it's a good bargain, it's a good value. That can be the case sometimes. But right now, those aren't performing very well. In fact, they're not performing up to par with what the S&P 500 is doing. So that's something to take a look at. Sectors-wise, top 3 has not changed. Number 1 is technology. Number 2 is healthcare. Number 3 is utilities. Healthcare utilities has typically flip-flopped here as of recently, but those are still the top 3 when it comes to sectors looking to outpace what the S&P 500 does long-term and buy signals. So that's the answer to number 1. Question number 2, when it comes to estate planning, what do I need to focus on? So again, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a stated plan attorney. but I've done a lot of business with estate planning attorneys and conversations I've had with these attorneys. So let me share a little bit of the conversations and knowledge that I've learned from these attorneys and share it with you. Of course, the best person to talk to about anything estate planning related is going to be an estate attorney or an attorney in general. So let me share with you this. Real estate, that's going to be a key thing for yourself. If you own real estate, from the conversations I've had with estate planning attorneys, trusts are the way to go. If you have real estate, perhaps creating a trust is the best place to be. If you don't have real estate, a will may be a better option for you. Again, talk to an estate planning attorney to make sure that's the right fit. But that's one thing I've seen time and time again is if we have real estate, if we do, yes, trust possibly is the way to go. If we don't, perhaps a will is the way to go. Other two things that people forget about. Healthcare directives and power of attorneys. If something were to happen to you and you were to be incapacitated, who's going to speak on your behalf? A partner, a spouse, a brother, sister, family, friend? Who's that going to be? We need to make sure we have a healthcare directive in place in case something were to happen to ourselves. Same thing for powers of attorney. Who's going to speak on our behalf if we can't talk for ourselves? We need to make sure we have these on file for ourselves and have something in place to give ourselves peace of mind, but also just to make sure, because we never know if this can happen to ourselves. So those are things to take a look at when it comes to estate planning right now. Question number 3, what are a few strategies to deal with debt? That's a great question. So let me start with this. People like to say, there's good debt and there's bad debt. Folks, debt is debt. You can't name it good or you can't name it bad. It's still money that you owe back to creditors, companies, Uncle Sam. It's still debt. But nonetheless, let me share with you 3 strategies that you can use right now to help you when it comes to managing your debt. First is understanding where your money is going. So how are you spending your money? Are you going out frivolously, or are you spending it on just necessities? Are you going to two baseball games? Maybe that's what I'm doing right now. You're going to a few too many baseball games. Are you going out too much? Are you spending it on frivolous things, clothes, coffee, whatever it may be? What is that? What are you spending the monies on? On top of that, how are you paying for that? Are you paying in cash? Most likely we're paying credit card, and then we have to pay that back eventually. If we have the cash on hand, use it. Pay with cash, pay with a debit card. If we can do our best as possible just to get rid of those credit cards, put them in the safe, shred them, cut them up. I know Dave Ramsey likes to shred them or cut them. If we have to do that, because that's going to help us long term with paying off that debt and not taking out our credit card to charge something on. That's one strategy. The second strategy, pay less interest. If we have the opportunity, if we can pay more on a monthly basis to our debt and what we owe, do it, because if we pay more and then the balance comes down, that's less in interest that we have to pay, versus if we just pay the minimum balance, and we still have money left over, you just pay the minimum balance and you're still going to get charged a good chunk on interest for what's still due. So if we can take an extra $100, $200, whatever that may be, and put that towards the balance of our credit cards or debt, that's going to lower the amount we pay in interest long term. That can save you a boatload of money. And number 3, pay on time every time. My friends, this goes a couple different ways. Make sure we have a timer, whether it's on your phone, Alexa, your computer, or just a general calendar, whatever that may be. Make sure we pay our debts on time. That's going to help us, number 1, pay it off. And number 2 is if we don't pay it on time, there's going to be a penalty and a fee. We don't want to pay that penalty and fee, my friends. So make sure you pay it on time every time. That's going to help you pay off your debt faster, eliminate fees, eliminate extra frivolous fees, and also too, it's going to help with our credit score too as well. So my friends, those are the 3 questions I want to share with you today. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, please let me know. If you want to set up a time, or if you want to talk to me and to go over your finances, or if you have a specific question about investments or retirement planning, let me know. Send me a message, give me a call. I'm here for you. I'm here as a resource for you at all times. My friends, I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care, and thank you for watching.